Alright, what is up YouTube? It's Cord Campbell back again for episode number 18. 18. I made 18 of these, 2 hours long each. That's almost a work week. Feels like I'm actually working on this now. I was volunteering today at the Alameda Point Collective. And I've got a video if you want to see the Alameda Point Collective, the place it's Collaborative, I'm sorry. Alameda Point Collaborative. So the Alameda Point Collaborative is a nonprofit organization in Alameda, California. And they provide housing for homeless. So if someone was homeless and they have some sort of disability, Alameda Point Collaborative provides housing for over 500 people who were previously homeless and had some sort of disability. And they live in the old officers and petty officers housing that was on the base, the Navy base here in Alameda. And I had a friend that was over there working on the community farm, and I ended up volunteering for the farm. And if you go over and you look here in my feed somewhere, I have a bunch of videos of the estuary here in Oakland, and so where is it? It's got to be in here somewhere. It's right up here somewhere. There it is. So this is where I volunteer. Is not there, but I'd like to volunteer at that swimming pool. But this is the Alameda Point Collaborative land. But this is the maker farm, and then this is the farm that I volunteer at, and I've just been helping them fix things. Today I fixed a sprinkler system. So just to get me outside, I sit in this apartment, and I've got a great view. I wish behind me was the view that I had for this stream, but instead you get to look in my closet. So that's what happens. Eventually, maybe when the summer hits and gets a little warm in here, I'll probably head out and try to get this desk out into the living room, and you'll be able to see the background. I have this killer view of San Francisco, downtown Oakland, and the Berkeley Hills. But it would be nice to have that as my backdrop here, but that's not happening today. Today, what we're doing is we're going to get into deleting documents. And I actually have no idea how to do that, so that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to figure out how to delete documents. Now, yesterday we were deleting indexes. So if we look at our sidekicks, which are our indexes, if we create a new index, and we're currently talking to Jumpy Auburn Shark, but this one is Pokey Russet Panda. Is now the active index, and I think if we tell it to index the site, I gotta check my audio. I didn't do that. Oh, you know what? I think I stopped streaming. Oh Christ! I hope not. I hope I'm still streaming. I am. Woo! Scary. Okay, now I'll listen to myself. How do I sound? Hello? I can't hear anything. What's going on here? I think I might be muted. Yeah, I'm muted. Oh, I sound okay. Okay. It's a daily ritual. I have to figure out how I sound. I forgot to do it earlier or whatever. Sometimes it's risky. Because if you sound like crap, it's no bueno. Okay. I thought I had killed the stream, so. Okay. Now, what I was doing yesterday was I'm going to do a pop-out chat, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it over in this window. And drag it up to the top right there, and then if somebody comes in and wants to chat, then I'll see it in there if I flip over to the other window. So somebody comes in, hopefully I'll see them come in. All right, we'll probably need to turn Sonos down just a tad. And I can still hear myself, so I'll kill that. All right, so now we're gonna get into the nut of it. So, we're getting an error. So yesterday we ran into an interesting problem. And what happened was that in the data store, this is like Google's, they just call it data store. That's what they call it, data store. So they have storage, which is like S3, and they have data store, which was like a NoSQL data store. And entity count, built index size, interesting. Settings, spool, interesting. I've never really looked at this view before. Query entities. Yeah, so the spool, I was creating spools, and then a spool on Mitta is just a collection of images, and the image can be an image of a website, which then requires a URL. So a spool can have a URL, and then it has an upload URL, and upload, this is the endpoint, so this is upload endpoint. Probably better called upload endpoint, but I called it upload URL, so there you go. And it has tags which are encrypted or encoded, and it has file names which are encoded, so I can't see those here. And then it has a name, and this name has got a hash on it. And this is still coming up that it's null. We have no earthly idea why it's not working. No idea. But what I did to sort of fix it was I put updated back in there, and that did work. So let's delete this guy. And then let's go in here and see if we can figure out what's going on with it. So if we look in Solr, we've got nothing in this guy. I think these have been deleted. I just need to go in and clean them up. Whenever an index is deleted now, if we were to look at the indexes or the sidekicks, we could delete this one, for example, Jumpy Auburn Shark. So we look here, Jumpy Auburn Shark, and then we're going to do a refresh, and you can see Jumpy Shark is, Auburn Shark is gone from the list. So our delete is working, our delete index is working, but something else is not working with the spools. So it's got to be something either, I felt like yesterday it was a bug with Google, but let's not assume that, and let's assume that it's still happening here like it was yesterday. I kind of got it working. I mean, it's sort of kind of working. It's actually not working because it's not indexing, but so the problem's going to be located in here somewhere. So let's go through the logic step by step. So we're going to go in here and let's clear the screen so we don't have a bunch of text in here that's confusing. And we're going to type grub. We're going to do an inspect. And then we're going to look at our network. And then we're going to crawl our own website. And just the API page. So we're going to image the API page, the API docs page. And so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to load the grub command here, this one. And so what's going to happen first is it's going to do a post of the line that I typed in. So it's going to post this line to the /g endpoint, which is handled by this right here, crawl, in crawl.py. It's going to pull the line out, and it's going to parse the line. It's going to pull out tags. So if we wanted to, we could say something like docs here. It's going to build a tag list. If there's no line, then it's a regular API call, which would be done from like curl or your code or something like that. And then if there's no URL, then it's going to tell you that it has an error because it can't do anything if there's no URL. Else it's going to go and quickly hit this URL with beautiful soup. Then it's going to look to see if this URL already exists in the models, which are here. Spool. So it's going to do a lookup here by UID URL right there. And it's going to pass in the UID and the URL, and then it's going to query for the UID and the URL. So if it finds the UID matching and the URL matching, then it's going to pull it in. But if it doesn't, then it's going to do a spool create. And this is where when we see updated, so we've got updated and created. Did I say is it updated or created? It's created that's not being populated. So it's gonna make this call to spool create, which is right here, right there. It's going to run down here. It's going to create a new spool name, and then it's going to run created equals and datetime. Created and updated equals datetime.datetime.utc now. Now, if we're wondering if that's really something that is happening, well, it's been there before. So I used to have a document object type, document class. I have this thing for settings. So settings works. I have creating a sidekick. That has an updated in here. It doesn't have a created, but it has an updated. And then we have a user. So a new user right here, created. There's a created right there for the user when it gets created. There it is right there. So let's go back down here to, let's see, spool. And we have it right there. There it is. So let's paste in the other one. Doesn't look like it changed. Looks the same to me. Then when we go down here, we see created and updated. The reason the upload URL is like that is because the grub servers talk to production. So I suppose it's possible that production could be screwed up. But I don't think so. Because the grub server, if we look at the grub servers here, no, this one. And we go into grub. So we're going to do this popen stuff into browser session. And we're going to do save screenshot. And then we're going to go into this right here, upload to the spool endpoint, which we have we're taking the sys arguments. So the first one would be the URL, and then the second one would be the token. And then we're just going to do a post. So if we look at upload, let's get rid of that guy. We don't need this one anymore. So we go into upload. We're going to be doing a post to upload right here. Timestamp is for the timestamp of the event that's returned, or the object that's returned. We have created and updated here. Created and updated here. That's just for the template. I mean, all that looks good to me. It's got to be when it's being created. So let's run it and see what happens. Says it worked. There's created and there's updated, and it worked. I don't know why it was broken. It's kind of weird. Could have been done because it was with production. Oh, but it's still giving us the error in upload. Line 151. Now created is gone. I think this is because production is whacked. So if we look at what Grub does again, excuse me, here, this sysargv, that comes in from Grub, comes in from the URL, request form URL, so passes in the URL, the upload URL, and the API token. The URL is passed to be imaged here. Which that's going to be calling production. So if we think about this, we're going to be doing an upload here. So in production, all we're doing here is doing this we're doing this update here, spool put. So this would be handled by prod right now. So prod has a little bit different code. I don't see why it would wipe it out. Actually, the model is different. So I'm using the spool model here. So even though in prod, this model is different. This model does not look like this in prod. One of those is missing. So I'm going to push. There's not really a good way to work around this. And the reason why is right now, I don't have a way to run the Grub server locally. So the Grub server runs as a separate server. And then I have a Solr server, and then I have an AppEngine project that runs on AppEngine. So that's just like containers. Google runs those for me. But then AppEngine calls out to the Solr server, and it calls out to the Grub boxes. And when the Grub boxes do a callback to the server, they call back to production. Even though I'm in dev, talking to dev, it's actually still talking to production. So what I need to do is I need to update it. So I'm going to go in here and do Powershell. I think I should be able to. No history. That's unfortunate. Let's see here. So I don't know why I've screwed up my colors here, but I think, let's see here. Did I make something like a deploy or something? Did I make that? I don't remember. Seems like I was going to make a deploy. Okay, so it's G Cloud. I think that's right. Yep. App. So G Cloud app deploy, and then I think it's / app YAML. I think that's right. Yes. All right, that's going to build and run, or build it and push it. So now we're going to we'll run it again locally here. So we can't currently, we cannot, it's not working. So that's fine. We're going to wait on it to update here. So there's updated. There's no created. So I guess that makes sense. That's what was happening yesterday. Why I couldn't figure it out. It was prod. Prod was getting involved because the grub callback. So it would create it. It would be there. It would be right. Then grub would go crawl. Then dev would reach out to grub and say, "Hey grub, go crawl this." One of the grub boxes would spool up. It would go crawl it, it would image it, it would save it, the picture. Then it would do the callback, but it would make the callback to prod. Then prod then accesses the entity store, which is the same entity store as dev. So that is what it is right now. The entity store is the same for both dev and production. So if I create a user on dev, it'll be on production. And then what would happen is, then whenever I re-access the spools, the other model would kick in, and then I guess that's just the way it works. And when it's got another model running, it just reworks it. So there you go. So that should be fixing it while we're working on this other problem, which is that we've got to go into delete the documents. So we want to delete a document. Now let's take a look and see if we can find a document. I don't know if we have a document to look at even. This may be a little tricky. That's not going to work. I think this one should have documents. Yeah, there's documents. So we have document IDs. And close the door so you can't hear my laundry running. Okay, so document ID needs to be loaded. So how do we get that? What is it? Let's look at what the API says. It says delete the document ID. So the sidekick name / document ID. So if I say delete, in this case, I want to delete that document ID. I wonder why it's long like that. Why it looks like that, and then this one looks like this. Let's go look at another one. Well, there's the ID there. So I guess doc ID was something I used to use. In this other collection. So I think what we want is this ID here. Now the question would be, how do we get the ID? And the answer would be, well, you would query the database for, or you would query Solr for it. You would get it back. It would come back in a search. Let's take a look at what a sample return looks like. So this, yeah, this is just a search return. So you would give it that ID. Okay, so we're going to go into search. Sorry, index. I think that's what we want to do, right? So if you tell it to index a document, then you could tell it to delete the document out of the index. Search is just for searching the index. I mean, technically, search is sort of an index method. It's querying it, like a get to the index. But then we have a separate file for it called search. So it's a little unusual. It's not very RESTful, I guess. I mean, it is RESTful because of the way we're doing it. But like, if we're thinking about the layout of the methods and how we're calling them and stuff like that, then we're saying all the index stuff. Like, if we could just cover real quick what we could do with an index, we can create a new index. We can get a list of all the indexes for the user, which they can have 3. We can get the details of an index. So we can say, give me the details of an index to tell you how many docs it has, what its name was, and when it was created. We can delete it. So we can delete the index. Then we can post to the index, which means submitting the document into the index. And then we can query the index, but that's done with S. And the reason we do it with S is because search is a completely different ball of wax. Technically that could be a get to I. I don't know. I think that's a little weird. I just made it S. It's going to stay S. But you can kind of see what I mean here. If we go back up and look at like spools, you can say, for example, you can get a spool and it'll return the spool information. So that's kind of like a query. But here we're just dealing with the indexes. So we're like saying, like, we have a Solr entity. We're going to create an index. We're going to delete the index. We're going to get a list of the indexes for a user. So we're adding a user entity to it to where we have users. So Solr, I think has that stuff. I don't know. I don't know if Solr has ACLs or not. I have no idea. So we're kind of implementing an ACL here for Solr. So it's going to just live in here. So I think that this is still the place I want to put it. I don't want to put it on an S endpoint or anything like that. I want it to be a delete here. So that means it goes into index. And I think it's going to go in here down at the bottom. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to steal this delete. So I'm just going to steal the whole thing. And I'm going to go down here at the bottom. I'm not really stealing it. It's my code. All right, so paste it in here. And then this is going to be the document ID. Now, Solr just calls it ID. So the call needs to be authenticated, and we need to call it something to delete doc. So then we need to say something like delete doc here. Might as well be complete. So we're going to go look up the sidekick. And then we're going to say something like, if we don't have a sidekick, if not sidekick, this right here. So what should happen if we don't find the sidekick? I don't know that needs to be in a try. And it doesn't need to be in the client context or either. I don't know. Does it? I feel like it needs to be something like this. So let's do that. So I want to look and see if we can find the index. Nope, that was right. So if we don't find the sidekick or the index, so if they pass in something that's the wrong name, then bam! Alright, let's see if that worked. Let's go in here and query this again real quick. Boy, I hope this works. I don't really want to flounder around with it too much. Sometimes floundering is all you do on stream. I mean me. Sometimes I flounder on stream. Okay, so let's try this again. Please work. Now I know this is going to work. That part works. But it should come back and give me the image. That's what I want it to do. It hasn't given me an error yet. Oh, I think it worked. No. Well, why? It must not have been indexed. Pokey russet panded. It didn't index it. Why didn't it index it? It says it was indexed. It doesn't mean anything. Clearly. Well, there's the post. And it says here there's an error. Did I see that error in here? I don't remember seeing that in here. I don't see anything in here that's an error like that. I think that's not the error. This is the spool response. Yep, command line user search. And then we're gonna do another, yeah, we're gonna search for it. So this is where it posted it. This should be, oh, that's a Git. And there's the post. It said it indexed it. Pokey russet panda. Pokey russet panda right there. Nothing in there. Okay, so let's go in and look at the index endpoints. So we're in here. We're working on this, but let's go ahead and save that. So index of document. It's going to get down here and it says number index. So it's going to go through the documents. It's going to go to add document. Solr response equals add document. This is so weird because this add document is in Solr. Right here. Sidekick name, update, data, right all here. Wood index. All right, let's try this again. Wood index. That's weird, it worked this time. I mean, is search gonna work? Nope. See, there's no documents in there. Is this sending it to the right one? Sidekick, sidekick, sidekick. I mean, it could be returning an error, but I don't think it was. It was returning the request to index. To here. I'm not doing anything with Solr response though, so let's see what that says here. I bet that's an error. I bet you a nickel that's an error. Mode block. X content type or options, no sniff, X frame options, same origin, unsafe inline. Result, success, response, server, engine X. Huh. That's weird. That's an error. That's coming out of the engine X server. Mode block. Yeah, that's 100% not allowing it to index for some reason. Is it because the document is not any good? Well, we did fiddle around with this a little bit. Is it that that's not a valid document? Let's print this document. Add document takes the document. Let's see, it's taking document, sidekick name, and user ID. that's the sidekick. So it's taking the document first. Document, sidekick, name, user ID. It's getting a count of the documents. It's sending. Well, I mean, it's. The thing I've rewritten this for the query. I've got this add in here, JSON dumps, document. I mean, the config could be wrong. I don't think the config's wrong. Let's try this. Let's print the config. I mean, I haven't touched any of this stuff. I mean, I did change something, so I don't expect this though. So, well, I mean, we know that's not working. Yeah, and it's the Nginx server, so we could go look at the Nginx server. Let's do that, actually. So we'll go over and take a look at the Nginx server on this box. I'm going to SSH into it. There's Nginx right there. Guess we could restart it. I mean, this box has been restarts all the time. Let's go ahead and see if we can look at the logs. It says a 400 here. Let's tail this. We'll run it again. Oh, I forgot about that. I got that bar down there. I changed the style sheet this morning. It's margin bottom 2 pixels, I think. Adding bottom 2 pixels. I think that 20. There it is again right there. No, that's not it. I don't know. Go away. I don't even know how I got that there. Reload! Yeah, I know you're having an error. I'm having a bad day. Come on, dude. There we go. Okay, so we want to do grub hbs meta.us /API v1. Okay. And there's the 400 we're looking for right there. So we're doing a post to Pokey Russet Panda and doing an update. Now I know, let's go in here and look at Solr. So we want to go to, where are we? PWD, so we're web. I want to do a git diff and then, oh no, wait a minute. We want to go into lib, git status, git diff solr.py. Well, we just committed earlier, I think. No, I don't think we've committed recently. Maybe I committed yesterday. I think I did commit yesterday. Let's see here what it says. 4 days ago. Let's see, let's go into lib. Yeah, that was edited 4 days ago. What's the history? Search is working. So add document. Data equals JSON dumps, document. Well, looks good. Request posts, data, timeout 3. I mean, maybe the data is not right. The document coming in is wrong? Could be. We could try to send it to something else. So we could say something like this. Why don't we send it like this? Something like that. And that should work. Now let's see what it does. Where's our, there it is. There's the post to update, and it's accepting it. So that's the answer, is that we're sending it something that's not JSON. So let's print the document here. So that's why it's barfing. And then for whatever reason, the load balancer is reporting it. All of this stuff works is because Grub operates independently of it. So it's all that stuff is working. It's actually when we're sending the document, the spool document is being sent over to the indexer. That's not working. And I did change that code yesterday, right before we ran into problems. So it's taking me a second to recall exactly what I was doing. I think I messed around with this. So it looks like I'm printing the document here. I don't see it. So let's try this again. So there's our URL. This is our response saying it's blocking us because we took that little document thing out of there. But is document not set? I have something that says would index. Oh, for Pete's sakes, it says response. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that error yesterday. So why is document set to response? That's so bizarre. So we're in index. Oh. I'm afraid that that's just the index name. So let's see what this says here. I remember running into this earlier. There it is right there. That's where it's pulling it from. So we have to be actually, so this has been changed around a little bit. So this needs to be this. Like that. For it to work. Silly. I remember taking that out. I don't know why I did. What's happening here? Blocking again. PowerShell. Blocking me. Error reported. Key error response. Response? I don't even know what that says. Response. Great. Do we get an error? No. Why are we getting this still? Let's go over and look at the... No, we took it. We should have it now. There it is. Great success. Okay, good. So now we can delete this document. Actually, this is the IDE for it right here. So how do we delete a document in Solr? So document, delete, Solr, rest 8.7. Delete a field type, delete a dynamic field type, delete a field. Well, I don't want to modify the schema. Delete all documents. Indexing nested child, uploading data, uploading parts of data, deduplication. If duplicate or near duplicate documents are concerned in your index, deduplication may be worth implementing. Signature field. That's kind of what we want. I mean, for the duplicate document thing. So what we need to do is we need to delete though. What is wrong with this scroll bar? It's like super slow scrolling. Well, forget actually using Solr for searching that. Deleting documents. Deleting the document. To delete document from the index of Apache Solr, we need to specify the IDs of the documents to be deleted between the delete tags. Oh yeah? I mean, can we do it in here? I would assume so. Let's try it. .404. Well, it's not going to be called unload. Let's see. So REST API Solr 8.7, because that's what we're using. Example. Delete document. There's the question right there. Collection will delete any temporary reindexing, blob store, config. It's just a simple tip today for deleting documents in Solr via the REST API. Not on Solr site. Who's this guy? Caesar. Thanks, Caesar. Maybe. Okay, so he's saying do a post. What? He's saying do a post to update, but then post the ID. Okay, I don't know what happened there. So we're saying post the ID, data binary. So this is a curl. Well, let's try this actually. We would need, yeah, let's try this. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. Did it again, I don't know why. Shift insert, and then we've got to change localhost here, so we got to change it to this. So we're going to copy that, and then we're going to go up here and we're going to, so it's an update? That's kind of weird. So we got to remember it's /Solr. Yeah, that's already there. And then we need the collection or the index. And that's going to be pokey russet. Oh, that's kind of weird. More things to fix. And then we got to paste this in here. So pokey russet panda. And then we're going to update, and then we're going to commit it, and then the content application JSON, data binary, and then we want to delete the ID of the thing. And russet panda, we want to, let's run select. And we want to delete this ID right here. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to go back over to here, and we're going to paste this in. Control V, no. Shift insert, no. How do we do this? Oh, for goodness sake, shift insert, there we go. And let's double check this. So we're calling it with our password, we've got the IP address, flipped the port 8389, Solr, pokey russet panda, update, commit equals true. Content type application JSON, data binary, delete, ID, yeah. Okay, it said something. That's a good response. There, it's gone. Okay, good. So now what we need to do is we need to replicate this. Man, thanks to that guy. Control insert. Caesar, you are the man. Where'd Caesar go? We gotta see Caesar here. Alright, so Caesar Capius. Capius? I don't know. That could be, I thought that it could be Capillus, but it's not. I think 2 L's is a Y sound. So let's look for Caesar online. This is Caesar right here. Who's this guy? This is somebody else. Is it the same guy? I mean, if so, Caesar's, you're doing pretty well there, Caesar. I don't think that's Caesar. I don't know. So let's see what Caesar's GitHub looks like. Crystallographer, recycled Nesium architect, works for some company named Zilk. That doesn't work. Dead URL. Here's Caesar on LinkedIn. There he is, so we'll connect with him. Thanks for the help. There we go. Thanks, Caesar. Appreciate it. Oh, like there's Pervase. I know Pervase. I wiped out my LinkedIn account, so whatever. I really don't care about LinkedIn so much anymore, but this guy is awesome. Where is that? I don't even know where Bilbao is. It's in Spain. Okay, well, thank you, Caesar. Thanks for the help. And Solr. Okay, so now we have some idea of how to delete a document. We're going to go in here, we're going to copy this, and then we're going to go into index, and we're going to delete that sucker. So here's what we're going to do is I'm just going to stick this up here so I can reference it. So we're going to be accepting it as a delete because that's the right thing to do for REST, Solr. But with Solr, they don't do things that way. So we need to go to, let's see here. So that's not admin. So this is our Solr URL. That's to there. And that should include Solr. And then our name. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat so much. I was outside today. We're calling it update. There's absolutely no consistency here with this shit. It's just sort of discouraging. Okay, so I'm not sure, why am I wrapping these in so many brackets? I don't understand. I'm gonna delete that one. I have the hiccups now. Glory. Okay, that looks a little better. I don't know about this formatting here. Okay, there we go. So that's going to be the Solr URL and the name. And then what we've got to do is we've got to get it formatted like that up there. So this is, I think Solr comes in on the end of that for our Solr URL. I'm pretty sure it does. So this just needs to be pokey russet panda there, like that. Okay, so that should work. And then we're going to do a /update here. Kind of need to break this up a little bit. Let's see here. Let me put this down here like this. And then we need a commit equals true. So something like that, I guess. And then, like the request to delete it is coming in here from this data binary thing. So I have no idea why it would do that. Why are they doing that? It's so odd. That's got to be like an old way of doing it, but it still works. I mean, we're using the add. We're using the add function as well. So whatever, Solr. Okay, so we're doing a request post. Let's go look at grub real quick. I think grub. No, I'm using files here. Files equals in the post. I'm just doing a request. Oh, I see. Request post. I'm gonna look at Solr real quick. Yeah, data equals data. Application JSON. Yes, so it's %sign %. Actually, I'm just going to copy this. I don't know what that dot headers is for. I have no idea what that dot headers is for. I mean, I guess it works. Because it's add documents. So it's request posts. This. Like that. And this is question mark commit equals true. And then data. And in the case of this data, it's this thing. Except it's this. That. And then it's the ID. So then this needs to be the ID of the document, which is doc ID, like that. And then headers, content type, application JSON, timeout. And I mean, the other one said something like this, said headers like that. I don't understand why it would do that though. And I guess I'll do a response equals request here, I guess. Yeah. So we need to call it with the name and the doc ID, and then there's the doc ID, and then we're going to print the response and document. If we get an error with the document, then we're going to do that, and that's going to be EX, and then if we delete it, then it'll work. So that should be it. Let's see if this works now. Okay, so we're gonna have to create this. So curl -x delete, because we're sane and using a REST, HTTP localhost 8080/I, because it's an indexing thing, and then we need the name of we actually need to create one, an object or an entity to delete. So we're just gonna run that again. And let's search for it. I think the search should work now. But, please work. Please work. No, it didn't work. Why isn't it working? Is it in here? It's in there. I don't care if the search is working or not. We'll fix that here in a minute. Okay, so there's the document ID. So I'm going to take the document ID and then I'm going to pass it in here. So I actually need the spool. I need the index, which is Pokey Russet Panda / and then the document ID, shift insert. And then that was Pokey Russet Panda with 1 T, !, token equals, and then I need my token. Where's my token? Let's go get my token here. The UI, we gotta work on the UI. Shift insert and hit enter, and we can blow it up. Okay, so it says raise exception while deleting document. It says here, sidekick name is not defined while deleting document. Okay. This thing is not defined. And that's because we call it name, not sidekick name. If we don't find the sidekick, then we should get an error. So let's change this real quick to pandas. Pandas. We should get an error back. Timestamp not defined. Gotta grab our timestamp everything entry. Okay, so result fail. I'm gonna go ahead and put that. Where'd my cursor go? What just happened? Control A. Okay, there we go. And then I'm gonna put that -s in there so I don't get that response. So let's check this real quick, just because I'm gonna be paranoid about things breaking. So let's see here. JSON validator. JSON validator, paste this in, validate JSON, looks good, great. Now let's go back and we'll fix this from panda to pandas to panda. And we got case insensitive dict object has no attribute text while deleting document. Whoa. Index line 247 in delete document. Really? While deleting document. What does it say? Case insensitive dict object has no attribute text. Well, if it raised the exception, why? Oh, I see. This needs to be a something like this. Like here, we need this thing right here. All right, let's try it again. Okay, case insensitive dict object has no attribute text. Still don't know what that means. Let's take this off. Oh, you know what? This thing, that's the error. It says success. What happens if we do it again? Still says success. Do we have a document anymore? Still have a document. That's not success. Well, let's print the response. Response 400. That doesn't seem very successful. What's wrong with it? What if we do this? Response 400. Still no bueno. Are we doing it to the right one? It's 71BB, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Let's try printing it here. We want the doc ID and the name. So there's the doc ID right there. So it ends in 34F. There it is right there, 34F. So it doesn't like this. Data binary, content type, application JSON. Which we are doing, I think, we're setting the content type application JSON right here. And then data binary. It doesn't need to be binary. Oh, you know what? It needs to be a JSON dumps. Like so. Solves all our problems, I think. Yes. Success this time. Well, but we didn't really have a success before, so if we rerun it, like if we do the query, the document's going to be gone. But then if we rerun this, then it still says success, but the response is still 200, so it's still saying that it deleted it. So I don't really know how to get around that. We could look for it, but if you try to delete a document again, it'll work. It works twice. You're never going to get that same document ID, so you could just knock yourself out and delete the same document over and over again. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to delete this just because I don't want the password in there. And that should be the code for it. So deleting a document works. So I suppose what we'd want to do here is whenever we index something, so that has been indexed, and now let's look at and see if we see it. We do see it. Then we're going to query like this, title, Mitta, and we're going to search, and there's nothing there. It's a little odd. Is that right? Title. Oh, it's Mitta.us. Title. Like that. Well, there it is. This should work, right? That should work. It doesn't work because it's got a dot on it. Does that work? That doesn't work either. What if we put a star? That works. Well, I guess that's right. I don't really like the idea of a word not being. What we need to do is we need to bust this up to where we have all the words here. So that's why our search didn't work earlier, I think. So if we now do search and we do description, command. Yes. Okay, now we do search and start like that. Yes, it works. So now let's index something else. Grub https news.ycombinator.com/news. No description for Hacker News. I think Hacker News is written in some weird language. I don't remember what it's like written in Lisp or something. Give us a shot of it. It's gonna work. How are we doing on time? An hour and 20 minutes. What am I gonna do when I guess, well, try to search for it a little bit. Okay. How about now? It doesn't look like it indexed it. Well, I don't know why. I mean, it didn't image it. Let's take a look at Solr. There it is, but there's no image of it. Are we gonna get it back if we do it again? You have some one-off error? Like you have to do it and then do it again to work? Maybe. That's something I'm gonna fix offline. I'm not gonna dig around on that. What's going on? Yeah, see there it works now. So if we do a search here, Hacker News. What do we have? Oh, we have two documents. Well, different, same spool. This one has a file name, the other one doesn't. So if we do a search now, we should get back 3 of them, right? Yeah, let's see, we've got 3 of them here. Well, whatever. I'll deal with that later. I don't know why that's not working. Let's try something. Let's go to Hacker News and read Hacker News for a minute. Because you know that's really what we want to do, is we don't want to code, we want to go to Hacker News and see what other people are doing. So what looks interesting today, somebody has died. Lawrence Ferlinghetti, poet who nurtured the beats, dies at 101. Okay, I don't know who that is. Remote hybrid stand-ups. Who cares? I don't like stand-ups. I don't have to do stand-ups. Here, I'll do a stand-up. This is my stand-up. Okay, I'm done with my stand-up. You need to be able to run your system. When developing a system, it is important to be able to run the system in its entirety. Run the unit test doesn't count. The complexity of your system is in the interactions between the units. Run an individual service against mocks doesn't count. A mock will rarely behave identical to the real dependency, and the behavior of the individual service will be unrealistic. You need to run the actual system. Well, that's what we're doing here. Run an individual service in a shared stateful development environment. Running all the other services doesn't count. A shared development environment will be unreliable as it diverges more and more from the real system. See, that's the case. I mean, here we have the grub boxes. These are the grub boxes. I mean, grub is just running. I don't need to run it locally. It's just running out there. And whenever I go in here and I say grub and I'm connected to my local host, well, localhost and Google Cloud AppEngine run the same, but all of the services that both of them use are the same. So I use the data store on Google, so the like S3 equivalent, like AWS has S3, so it's an object store. But then Google runs that as well, so this thing gets uploaded to that. So if I open this, and it gets served off the endpoint, the spool endpoint for the document, then this comes off of Google Cloud, even though I uploaded it. Well, technically it got uploaded via production, but it was initiated from dev. So maybe I'm doing this without the ability to actually run the entire system in this way while developing. Many evil practices will tend to become common. Testing is harder. Production deployment will cause issues more often. That's the truth. See, here that's not going to be the case. So if we push now, which we should do, nobody's in chat. Sniff. Okay, so where's our other PowerShell? Yeah. Well, actually, I guess we'll put this one up here. We'll put this one down here. So if somebody comes into chat, we'll see them. Come on, people. Come into chat. Somebody say something in chat. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to deploy this. And really, what I like to do before I do the deployment is I like to do a commit. Where are we here? And so then like I'm not working off tickets, I'm working off running down the API list. So like now indexing methods should be complete. Crosses fingers, something like that. Now I'm going to push all that. So now I've got a push that coincides with my I have a commit that coincides with my push. So now I can push. And now what's going to happen is it's going to upload all those files. So I have parity. I mean, I could go look at the commit. I could look at the time that I did the push to Google, and then I could see the commit here. And really, ideally, you have something that runs the commit first, lets you type in the comment, and then it pushes it. That'd be the easiest thing to do. And then that way you're not dealing with any tomfoolery. You're just dealing with, I got some code, I ran it locally, looks good to me, pushing it to production, production's running just like Dev was just a minute ago. All right, so now we're gonna save this, and we're gonna do it by, now this is a little weird because if you do this, it doesn't work right now, and I don't really know what to do with that. I know saved.io, I think saved.io does it okay. So if we do saved.io mitta.us, saved will save that, I think. Remember what my password is. That worked. So see, saved was smart enough to do it. I'm not smart enough to do that yet. So what you have to do here is you have to do HTTP going like that. I gotta go get my phone. Oh, I have my phone. It's in my card. So I'm gonna get a token. I gotta go to email. I don't know if I want you to see my mail. I guess it doesn't matter. I don't care. And here's my token. And then I'm going to go in and do it again. So, where was it? Here? HTTP mitta.us/HTTP. There we go. This one's easy. Come on, dude. It's not gonna work the first time. Don't know why. So weird. I might have to track that problem down. It's not working? Come on, Pokey Russet. What's going on, man? It seems like prod's not working. So I guess that's right, because we need to push. We're pushing. So it'll work here in a minute. So let's try it. Let's try it. Oh, there it is. I'm wrong. It did work. Okay, so there's that page. So that worked. Okay, good. But it's not searching it. But that'll be fixed here in a second. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're gonna have to do next here. So we just got done with index. Somebody said to me the other day, and like, I don't understand what this site does. And I'm like, well, it's a search engine. They're like, yeah, but what am I supposed to do with it? And I'm like, well, you save pages with it. So you give it, URLs, and then it'll take a picture of the page, and then it'll index that. But it's not doing that yet. They're like, oh, okay. So one of the things that is sort of going on here is like when I'm working on it, is I can manage to kind of pretend what it needs to be doing here. But if I do a search here, and here we're on localhost, right? If I search for, what was it? I said title. What was that thing I was just looking at? Not that. Where'd it go? I don't know where the hell it went. It disappeared. Let's go over here and look at it. Data store entities. Spool. We should have that. That's it right there. So title U. You'd think I would remember that. Okay. U. But it's not working. So let's go in here and search here. And let's say title U here. And I don't think it indexed it because it was in prod. So let's see, it wasn't been indexed. So, I mean, clearly things, if somebody was going to come in and use this, it's not going to do anything. It's not working. I mean, I'm working on making it work. So when you're building something and it's broken, like if you come in here, you can see this page. But if you go to use it and it's broken, people will just leave. They won't even think twice about it. I've worked for companies where when you click on something, everybody in the company thinks people are clicking on that and then they're going and doing that thing, and they're not. It's breaking and they're leaving. And then everybody's sitting around scratching their heads going, why isn't anybody talking to us? And it's like, well, because they're leaving. When they go to your web page, they're leaving. So eventually I want to look at this page and then I want to look and see what people are clicking on. I mean, if they're clicking on this button or whatever, I want to know it. In fact, I could use the product to actually track that, but that's not what the product's for, is not for tracking stuff like that, but you could do that with it. Whenever somebody clicks on this button, you could send an event in and you could say, somebody clicked on a button. Look, you can actually do that. Watch, I'm going to show you how you can do that with Mitta. So you go into Mitta, you go into the console, you say, someone clicked on a button. And then it says someone clicked on a button, and then where does that go? Well, it goes in here. Right now, it goes in here. So I'm going to go in here to query, and I'm going to execute the query, and I'm going to say, I'm going to say text button. I think this should work. Well, that's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know how that even got in there. Let's see here. Words button. Am I looking at the correct index? I think it's the right index. Watch me eat my words. You know what? Is that actually working? So let's go in and look. Echo. So it should be logging it in there. Let's see here. Query. And I want to do words. Is that right? Button. When did this get indexed? On the 12th. Well, maybe it's not working. Well, anyway, so if you go into shell and you go in here and you look at the bottom, did I comment it out? Yeah, I did. Right there. So I commented this out. So it was indexing everything you typed in. So if you were to just type in something like button, someone clicked on a button, it'll echo it to you. It was indexing that. We could make it index it again when somebody types in something here. We could make it index it, and then it would become searchable. In as much as we type in grub and it goes and crawls it, and we can type in and search for the title or description of something that gets returned. We could just type in whatever we want and get back text. So you could send in a document to Mitta, we would index it, we put it in Solr, and then whenever you query for it later, it would return to you. But I mean, the value of that is pretty low because, I mean, you could just stand up a Solr server yourself for it. So whenever I'm creating this thing that I'm creating, Mitta, in order to answer that question of what does it do, well, it really is the UI. The UI is the doing of it. When someone's interacting with it, it's the doing of it. Well, until I have the back end done, which is all of this API stuff, then the UI doesn't really do a lot. I mean, you can type things in here like help, and I have some framework that goes and dynamically loads this help JS setting thing, this thing right here. And well, anyway, the guy I was talking to is like, well, so it's like a demo. It's like a demo, technology demo. And I'm like, well, it's not a technology demo. It's actually a thing that I'm creating. It's just not done yet. So whenever you're dealing with stuff like that and you're talking about stuff like that, it's hard to talk to people about it. And it's, I think yesterday we saw on Hacker News the like it's the niche market thing. If we go over to Hacker News and we search for niche, right? So Hacker News uses a thing called Algolia, which is search. So Algolia, see here, is showing you some search results on the page. So they're actually formatting a page and showing the search results here. With Mitta, I mean, what I'm doing is I'm showing you the search results in this shell thing, which is sort of a technology demo in and of itself. So if I do search here, it's just going to come back with stuff. Then I'm also giving you back a list of things. But the things that are being returned to you are being returned by what appears to be a chatbot. So in the case of Algolia, it's this. So let's look for the last 24 hours. Why I'm building, I see a lot of niche search engine for the Django ecosystem. That's kind of interesting. Last week, start with the niche. Let's read this. Most popular products don't become mass popular overnight. It's a process. Usually their popularity is uneven. They are unknown in some niches, but very popular in other niches. When you start a product, as we're talking about here, sometimes you know the niche already and can easily define target customers. So who's the target customer of Mitta? Well, the answer is people who want to save the things that they find online. I want to save this page. I can go in here and I can type save.io and hit enter. And this will save this to my save.io page. I've been using save.io forever. There it is. It's saved. But here's the kicker. If I go to this page and I copy phonograph and I go in here and I click paste, it'd be really cool if this worked. Nothing matches. Well, let's do that again. Let's paste that in there. Let's make sure we're searching for the right thing there. So nothing matches that term. So let's go to Mitta and do it. Now we're on Mitta. Did we push? We're done pushing. So search should work. Okay, so it does work. And let's, we got to reload the page. And the reason we have to reload is because I updated the styles. So search star.star. Okay, so, and then what we want to do is, what happened? Let's see, where is this page? Oh, we haven't bookmarked it yet. Oh, I did it, I set it. Okay, so let's save it. Save.io, that's why save.io says that. Let's go to save.io. What does it say? Bookmarks, view all. Well, he's not getting in trouble for using the word bookmark. I'll probably get in trouble for using the word bookmark, so whatever. I try not to say bookmark because Mitta is not really a bookmarking site. It's more than that. But so I'm going to type in mitta.us here and I'm going to hit enter. This is just like save.io. I'm going to hit enter there. It's going to index it. We've got that weird little problem happening where it's not really indexing it maybe, so we're going to run it again. And now we're going to search for it. We're actually going to search for everything, and you can see where it says start with a niche, and there it is. I did it twice. I guess it is working. All right, so let's go back. We can just go right from here. However, in many cases, you just don't know how to target the customers. Sometimes you know the niche already and can easily define target customers. So who are the target customers? Well, people who want to save pages and then search for things that are in the pages. And moreover, I want to search for the images that are in the pages. So like if I see this image and I'm on the site and I see this image, I want this image in my index. I want to be able to save this image and have it in my index. I want to be able to go back and say, I remember it was that website, start with a niche, and I want that image off of that website. I think it was like Telegraphs or something. So I want to save this image. So I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to go over to Google. And I'm going to upload it. I'm not a robot. And now I have all of these words: gas cylinder, machine, motor vehicle, font, illustration, drawing. Maybe those aren't right, who knows? But now I have text: relay apparatus, relay apparatus, Wheatstone automatic telegraph. So if I searched for telegraph in Mitta, something like that, then I would see this picture pop back. This picture would come back. That's what I want. So who's my target audience? People who want to find things that they saw before. Now maybe there are people who don't want to find things that they saw before. Maybe there are people like that. So let's keep reading. When you start a product, sometimes you know the niche already. Well, I think I do. And can easily define the target customers, which I think I have. However, in many cases, you just don't and try to find the niche and this miraculous niche market fit. One of the most common mistakes is to ignore niches and just try to attract all kinds of customers. It's essential to find 1 to 2 ponds to start from and then expand to the other larger and more promising lakes and oceans. So start with a drop and then go to a tub and then go to an ocean. Here are a couple maybe surprising examples that demonstrate how popular products took off. The electric telegraph. Its adoption was not easy since it was not clear what are the benefits for commercial institutions with the telegraph. Like the telegraph didn't exist, so people weren't calling each other. They weren't texting each other. They weren't sending messages to each other with wires. They were writing letters. Stockbrokers and reporters got the benefits first because their market or their jobs actually benefited from that. So whose job will benefit from saving images, being able to search for things and find things? Well, there might be people who will just want that, but maybe researchers, like somebody who wants to research something, people who want to remember things, reporters might want to do that. Maybe somebody who wants something to talk to them and actually kind of know what it is that they want. If they just type in something, a little entity, like a little chat bot responds and goes, well, what are you looking for exactly? It helps you build a query, for example, that helps you find the things that you're looking for. So this is sort of like the process of going through this is, like dependent on the product. Here we're talking about cars. Cars are the lucky exception. However, there was still one group of people in the U.S. that moved from horses to car enormously fast. Farmers. Cars just expanded the borders of farmers' social life and business activities. Suddenly you could buy goods not from a local dealer, but in a dealer in a remote town much cheaper. Suddenly you can visit a town and watch a movie. So farmers bought cars first. That's interesting. I didn't actually know that. So with this product, I'm hoping to figure out a way to help people who want to save content online. That's the entire purpose of Mitta, is to be able to save the content that you find online over time. It's not about, even though it is a little bit like Loggly, when we created Loggly, we wanted to be able to save machine data, lots and lots of log files. Now you've got probably maybe like 50 to 100 companies spooling up that are doing stuff like that. They want to do all sorts of things. They want to monitor, your application performance. They want to monitor your application error logs. They want to monitor the health of your application, etc. I mean, I could do that with this, but that's not the niche that I want to go into. The niche I want to go into is I want people to be able to type in a query and get back to things that they saw before on the pages that they visited. Or alternately, if they have a bunch of images and they want to save those in there, like sort of like a Flickr maybe, that they can go in there and save the images in there. Then the machine learning models look at it and then they help mark them up, and then they get back images that they didn't realize had imagery in them that was interesting. So you could grab a whole bunch of images and say, I don't know what's in all these images, but have these models look at these images and then give me the images I'm interested in based on the content that I'm looking at. So those are the types of things that I'm thinking about with Mitta, trying to expose that, but it's really hard to explain all of that to somebody when they can't go on and use it and do it immediately. And they can't do it is because I'm not done with it. So there you go. That's kind of a little bit of an explanation for what's going on here. I hope that makes sense. I've kind of meandered off on topic, so let's get back to work. Let's see how much time we have left. I was trying to burn some time. Excellent. I only have 15 minutes left. So let's try to do something simple. What do we have left here to do? So index should be done. So let's walk through this one more time and make sure that we have everything done here. So we've got, and I'm going to pull up index here so we can just kind of walk through the methods that I've created here. So we've got create a new sidekick. So here's that. Create a new sidekick for the user. Okay. Return a list of sidekicks. Here's a list of sidekicks. Get a sidekick status. So I call it details. I guess we can call it status. So that just gets the sidekicks info, number of documents. Delete a sidekick. So that should be up here at the top. Delete a single sidekick, and let's move this because it's kind of out of order. A lot of times you'll have a way of coding that you can generate docs from the code itself, which is kind of nice. I'm not doing that here. All right, index a document, send a document to a sidekick right here. And then delete a document here. Now we have search, but search is working. So if we drop down to search and then we pop over to search, we have search working here. So this is get sidekick name. Now what is probably not working is this. So if we do something like this, I'm not picking up on any of that. This code does not include any of that. So we could define a query here, like this facet query here, and we could run it. We actually have that here in relatedness. We have something very similar to that here. So let's look at title, and then what? Description. And we're gonna have to look at the right sidekick. So this is Pokey Russet Panda. One of the things I'm going to need to do is fix the Pokey Russet Panda in the index. You can see here Pokey Russet Panda here. Actually, you know, we could do, we could probably pull off doing a facet call here, facet query. Let's see here what we can do here. So can we put title? Can we put this in here? I don't know if this is going to work or not. It might work. It does work. I think we want to say that we don't want any results. Yeah. It says cannot parse. No, I can't parse it. Let's try to run this manually. Oh, we got to put in Pokey Russet Panda here. This thing. Here. Okay, so let me explain what's going on here. So we're going to do what's called a facet query. And in this case, we've got the facet is, we're searching for, this example is just kind of bogus, but we're actually going to use this example over here. And we're going to see, I want to have a lot of documents in here, so I don't know if this is going to work. But it might. So we're going to do bash relatedness. And it says it didn't work, but let's go over here and look at the query. So we were looking for words grub. So let's look for everything. And rerun this. And there we go. So you can see here we're getting back something called relatedness and foreground and background popularity. And if we look at what, if we filter these out here, so we can see that we've got some basic relatedness coming through. Now keep in mind that we don't have very many documents in the index. So if we do this search for it like this is basically all the documents that we have in the index. That's it. And so we have product, tools for thought, stuff like that. So if we were to look at this, we probably have the word tool in here somewhere. Yeah, tools right there. And it's related to another. That's the relation. So tools, and I don't know where is another. That's a good question. Where is another? Product and tools. Well, let's go in and modify search real quick. And we're only reporting the title right now. So let's copy this. You have to keep in mind that the UI here is not done. So it can't get done until we have all of the other functions ready. So now let's see here, we should have the title now. Do we? This is prod. Now we have the title. And what we were looking for, tools, and then what did it say that it was close to? Another. Let's go in and do the search here. I don't even know where another is coming from. Hacker. So this query, it's designed to show you the closeness of the words in the searches. So essentially what you could do is you could say, okay, for title, search for the word niche, but then show me in the descriptions that match that search, in the documents that match that search, show me the words and description which occur the most. So that's sort of what you can do with this. And the whole idea being in this particular part of the search functionality, we're exposing what's called the Solr JSON API, facet APIs. And with these facet APIs, you have all sorts of things that you can query. You can query accounts of things, so you can get back a count of things. You could graph something with this. So search is, even though it looks simple, even though this part looks simple, it's actually pretty complicated because we have to be able to support letting all of this stuff come in, as well as being able to do these like facet API calls, which will get us back counts of things or relatedness things or like the distance of things together. So if you were, maybe you were indexing documents that had like distances between points on a map, we could go back and if we could somehow extract those distances and put them in Solr, then Solr could do distance calculations and return documents that are close to each other by distance, or objects that are close to each other by distance. Now, whether or not we have a niche market for that or not is to be determined, but we're going to put it in here so that we can see if we have that market or not when we launch. So I want some of this functionality to be possible with this. I did have, at one point in time, I had a graph function. It looks like I got rid of it though. But all of this is JavaScript. So in JavaScript, I can do a query to Solr, and then I can query the, for ACL stuff, I'm querying that. So I'm validating someone's user as a user. We have settings that we can now set for the user as well. So settings can be loaded into this. So we can now write code or JavaScript code that can do just about anything we want it to now. We could graph things. We can make things very pretty with JavaScript. We could make a little mini application with it and put it in the shell. So once I get these functions done, and the last one that's going to get done, again, we're working on search next. The last one that's going to get done is tag. And the tag one, this stuff here with the tag description is not entirely accurate. It's the most inaccurate one of what's been documented so far. But once we get down to tag, then you're going to be able to take tag, you're going to be able to pass a spool to tag, which it will return then what is in the imagery when a machine learning library looks at the images. Tag will return tags that we can put in back into the documents in Solr, as well as being able to tag documents that are already in Solr. So if we have put something in Solr and we do a search for it, so we're like search for whatever, like counts of some facet call or whatever, and then it returns the counts of those and it gives us a word, and then we search for the word and we find an image for the word, then we can pass it to the tagger, and the tagger can look in the image and say, I found, you know, there was a taxi and there's some wheels in there, and I found a person and a horse. And then it can take all of those tags and put it back into the index. And then we get this method of being able to add additional data. It's what I call crawling the document. We're crawling into the document, finding additional data on the document as if somebody were looking at it. It's like if I go and I look at, you know, something like this page, and then I could go in here and I could say, well, all right, so on this page I see boxes with X's in it, and I see, you know, some blue box, and I see something that says NAND. I mean, a typical crawler can't do stuff like that. So once we hook up machine learning to it, then the machine learning libraries can do that with it. It can tell you, you know, if you go to a page, page with flowers on it, something like this, then the machine learning library might be able to look at this and say, oh, these are roses. And then all of a sudden I have a picture that I can now return to the user that is a picture of roses. And that's the general idea. Something beeped. I have no idea what it was. Oh, I won a prize. You made the 5 billionth search. I don't believe that, because it's something like this. Congratulations, you may be our next lucky winner. Our last winner was Brad Jenkins from Alameda. Whatever. Go away. Okay. So anyway, I think we're at probably time. So that's a little bit of coding and a little bit of ranting and a little bit of explaining what's going on here, and just put my thoughts down in video. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And please comment if you find it interesting. Go to Mitta, mitta.us. Sign up for Mitta. I'll be working here shortly in a few months, so it should be working. You should be able to check it out and see what it's doing yourself. And in the meantime, I'm just going to keep on coding. So if you want to come in and join me daily, you can. I'd love to see you. And now I'm going to get back to fixing some bugs and thinking about what tomorrow's stream's going to be like. This one was a little weird, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Take care. I'm Cord Campbell. I'll see you guys soon. Out.